You're listening to the CareersBU podcast, a podcast aimed at Bournemouth University students and graduates. Each episode, we talk to employers, alumni and professionals all about their career journey, what employers are looking for, and help you explore the opportunities that are available to you. Hello and welcome to this episode. I'm Amanda Fripp, Careers Consultant at Bournemouth University. In this episode, I'm joined by Damian Cranny, a Fraud Protect Officer at Dorset Police. Together, we dive into the world of fraud, exploring everything from recruitment scams and money mules to the strategies criminal groups use to target students and young people. Damian shares invaluable insights, including the red flags to watch for, practical tips to protect yourself, and essential steps to take if you fall victim to fraud. This is an episode everyone should hear, but it's especially important for students and parents or carers looking to stay informed and vigilant. Hi Damian, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for inviting me, Amanda. I really appreciate it.
So can you tell me a little bit about your role at Dorset Police?
Sure. So I am the Fraud Protect Officer at Dorset Police. And the reason that we have Fraud Protect Officers now is that fraud is now 40% of all crime, which is quite a huge amount. But on top of that, from research we've done, we know that 80% of people that have been frauded don't actually report fraud. So we know that it's actually greater than the 40%. So my role is to engage with the Dorset community, to empower them and engage with them so that they can understand what fraud is, how the social engineering works, and so how they can protect themselves and look after themselves.
Brilliant. That's really interesting. And typically, what are fraudsters trying to gain from somebody? Is it just money, or what is the outcome? What are they actually trying to get from us?
So the main thing is financial gain. So they use the social engineering to get financial gain, or sometimes it can be a service. So you could be doing a service for somebody, but you don't actually get the payment from that. Or it could be, say, for instance, on Marketplace, you've sold something, you send the item, but you don't get the payment. So that's an item that they get in that respect.
Mm-hmm. So around kind of money, products, services, which you're not getting anything for.
Yeah, but the main idea is for them to make a profit from whatever they're engaging with you.
Mm-hmm. And what about data? Is there also an element of fraud where they're just trying to get data from us, personal information?
Oh, absolutely, yes. So you'll quite often see, so we're going to talk about recruitment fraud, for instance. So they'll post something online. It will look like a fantastic job, or it might be, again, Marketplace. It might be something saying, a fantastic designer item that's at a really reduced rate. And so, you can do that. And with a job, you put your information in there. They're asking you for your basic information, but then that's data collected as well. And they can use that data, which is why, when we talk about the recruitment fraud, we'll go into detail about what they're doing there.
Brilliant. Okay. So for our students, what sort of fraud do recruitment being one of them, and I really want to talk about that, but what other types of frauds might they experience?
So for students in particular, you will find organised criminal gangs will specifically target heavily students, and that's to be money mules. And so they will actually not only do it on social media, but they will hang around universities, they will hang around cafes and bars to befriend students. And it's quite, again, a very clever process that they will use in that. And then they get the student caught up to become a money mule, which I can go in more detail as well for you.
So, okay, yeah, can we talk a little bit more about that? Because I've never kind of heard much about this before. So,
absolutely, yes, okay. So I think the statistics are about 3 in 5 students will be targeted as a money mule and have been approached to become a money mule. Okay, the latest reports, I think from about 3 years ago, was 6,000 students in the UK were actually active money mules that were known about. And I'll tell you how it works. So what would happen is especially new students that go to a new university, they've moved away from home. They haven't got their regular support around them. They haven't got their family and they don't have their friends. And also they're in quite, especially with the economic climate, that they become short of money. So the criminal gangs will send somebody around the colleges and universities. So it can start at the age of 14 at schools as well. And then what they will do is they will start to befriend somebody. Now, again, this can be online, or again, it can be at the university. And what they will do is they will be friendly to that person at a time when it can be quite a lonely experience and a difficulty. And this is why I also do talks for international students as well, to make them aware. And what would happen is, starting that friendship, they will start to do nice things and helping them out with things. You're in a new area. I can show you around. I can show you all the good spots. I can help you out with this, and I can help you with that. I've got a party going on. Do you want to come to my friend's party? And so it's really a nice experience, because I lived in France for about 4 years. And when I first went there, I had to be there for 9 months on my own without family and friends. And when you're in a new place, there's new systems, there's new rules, there's new regulations, and sometimes there's language barriers. And so when somebody does come to help you, it's a great relief. And you're quite happy to accept that friendship and also to accept their support. And we're very trusting human beings, by nature, are very trusting people. So when you've got this person that's been helping you out for weeks on end, if not longer, you've then built up quite a good friendship. And it actually makes your student life a lot easier when you've got that support around you. And then a typical approach would be, so let's say, for instance, you've met somebody and they're helping you out, and they might say to you one day, I've got a terrible trouble with my bank account. They're causing lots of issues, and I've got to pay my direct debits, I've got to pay my rent. Do you mind if I withdraw my money and I give it to you to put in your bank account? And of course, that's a friend. And also what they're asking you to do is put it's their money into your bank account to keep it safe. So why wouldn't you say yes? So you then say yes, and then after a while they'll say, I've got my new bank account sorted out. Can we pop down to the bank, withdraw the money, and then I can sort myself out? Thank you very much. We'll have a coffee in town as well while we're down there, and we'll go and look at some clothes and things like that. So it's all shrouded around the friendship.
Yeah.
Totally natural. So what they would do is they would then go in town, and perfectly natural. It's their money. So always what you're doing is withdrawing the money you've kept safe from them. You withdraw it from the bank and then give them this cash. And then they will say, do you know, that's helped me out so much because I had so many issues. I could have gone into debt. I could have this problem. You're a real great friend. Here you go. Here's a bit of money. And, the student might say, well, no, that's fine. We're good friends. I say, no, seriously, I so appreciate that. Here's a little bit of money for doing that. And then after a while, they'll say to them, you wouldn't believe it, but my mate also got the same problems with their banks. Do you mind if we do that again? Because it's so helpful. You're such a good. And these are all dropped in conversations. It's not as straightforward as what I'm doing now. And then again, it's their money. Nothing happened. You just put their money in your account and then you took it out. And yet they give you a bit of money, but it's just like buying a coffee or, a drink in the pub or some clothes or something like that. So you do that again. And then what will happen is they will say, do you know what? I know a lot of people that's in this situation. I could set this up for you. I won't take the money, but you'll get the cut for it. So it's you that making the money, but you're my mate. So, it's up to you. And especially for a student, again, we're trusting people. We like the friendship. We like to help out each other. And also, again, times can be really tough at universities, and you have to buy things and get things done, and you want to go out and you want to have fun. So it's like an easy yes. Yeah, no, I'm happy to do that. But what happens is the banks check the algorithms. So for instance, on my bank knows exactly how I spend. So they know I go to the shops every Wednesday and how much I spend, around £80. They know what my direct debits are. They know what my money coming in from my employer. And so, for instance, a while ago, I had a trouble with the car and I had to take it into the garage, and it was like over £600. Now, I tried to do that payment and the bank contacted me straight away. So they knew exactly I was out of my spending pattern, and it was an amount that I don't usually spend. So I could then say to the bank, yeah, that was me paying that money. But when the bank's watching payments coming into somebody's account and then going out, coming in, and then going out, their algorithms will pick that up. Okay. If a bank suspects a student of being a money mule, so they're the mule, and in their account, they're basically money laundering. So the dirty money comes in and then it goes out again. So as soon as the banks see that, it's not a conversation with you, or it's not a discussion or anything like that. They will just close your bank account, and that's it. You won't have any access to money. Now, they will close your bank account for 7 years. So if you imagine a student over here, let's come all the way down. If you've got no money, how are you going to pay your tuition, your books, your going out, your rent, everything you're not going to be able to pay for. On top of that, your phone company will shut your account contract for 7 years. So you won't be able to get a phone. That means you're here with no contract, no phone, and no money. Now, that just makes it practically in these days impossible to be living and doing actually anything here. What will happen? So I can tell you a real story, actually. There was a criminal, and his name was Tony Sales, and he was the biggest fraudster in the UK. He ran the biggest money mule rings, the biggest mortgage frauds and credit cards and everything that was going on. And it was a big business. He was caught. He went to prison. And what he did is, when he came out of prison, he decided to work for the students. So he's totally changed his life around. And he produced a video, a film that is available. And in the film, he shows the true story of how he got a money mule enlisted. The money mule was enlisted. He realized at the end of it there was something wrong. So what he did was he told his bank his cards had been stolen. So the bank then obviously stopped the account to stop anybody else getting access to it that had his cards. But what happened is that he had the criminal's money in there. So the criminal actually came down to where he was at university. They kidnapped him, drove him to his parents' house outside, and said to the parents on the phone, "You can see him in the car here. Transfer this money now." I think it's about £30,000. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen to him. And so the parents then had to find the money and transfer the money, because that money was all part of his business. It's not something that you think, oh, well, we'll close his account. They're going to want that money back. Okay. Even if the individual goes to prison for 14 years, they would still go to family and friends to recoup that money in some way or other. So, and then it can be taken even further. So if the student doesn't have family and friends where they can get the money from, they would then be recruited in other types of fraud to try and make that money back. So they could then be used to recruit other money mules, or they could be used to do things such as sextortion. So they could be going online, pretending to be somebody else, building up that romantic link with somebody by using fake information. Again, using social engineering to build a relationship with that individual. And an interesting thing, it's not just somebody, we never say anybody's being stupid or fallen for fraud. It's not, or gullible. These are clever, okay? And they're so skilled at social engineering.
I guess from a student's perspective, or for anyone's perspective, they might initially be thinking, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. I know money isn't being stolen from me, so things are okay. But actually, it is a crime that they're involved in, that they're suddenly in this web of, well, criminality, really, aren't they? Inadvertently.
Yes, inadvertently. So that's where the first thing they do when they realise is that they contact the police. Contact us on 101, and we will assist that individual, okay? Because we're interested in the big criminal gangs, okay? And then that's not about a prison sentence and everything else involved in that. That's about re-education and making sure that that's not going to continue. Okay. So that's the most important thing then.
Reporting it is really important. And I guess as soon as somebody,
absolutely,
just being on guard, isn't it? If you are meeting friends, somebody who has kind of befriended you, and it might all be fine, but as soon as those red flags of like, oh, can I transfer some money into your account? That's a red flag, isn't it? That's straight away saying no.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a straightforward no. That's a straightforward no, no matter. And again, as human beings, we find it very difficult to say no, especially when somebody's been a good friend or doing good favors for us. But that's a straightforward no. Your bank account is yours and for your use only.
Cool. And then if it does happen, ring the police, report it, as soon as you can. That's the key, is to report it. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, get in touch with us. We're here to help. That's our whole job. Like I say, it's the big criminals that we're after. But if somebody did continue to become a money mule and they knowingly did that, then there will be implications involved in that.
And then you started talking about sextortion, romance fraud. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So that money that was put in their bank account, and they thought that was innocent money, that's come from fraud, okay? Because it's all used for crime. So it could have been that they were recruited or somebody online was sextorting somebody. And again, in these days, most dating's done online. It's most young people talk online. They have their relationships online, and it's very easy to use social engineering skills to build that relationship. And with romance fraud and sextortion, it's not a quick hit. So they will take time building up that relationship with that individual, and it could be 6 months or a year down the line before they actually introduce the idea of money. And it is the tactics they use are the same as used in domestic abuse. They use coercion and control. They will use isolation. So, for instance, at the very beginning of the relationship, they'll start off, they will present themselves as somebody that owns lots of money. So they'll show them pictures of themselves with expensive cars, expensive clothes, lovely apartments, and they've got this really successful job. So they've already instilled in you that they're not going to ask you for money because they've got money, they're sorted, and they've probably got a lifestyle that a lot of people would like to achieve. So they built up that relationship, and through the relationship, they will use things like asking information about simple things that most people do in the beginning of relationships. What's your favorite film? What's your favorite film star? What's your favorite movie? And then they'll start, for instance, dropping lines from movies that you like in there, quotes from your favorite film star, just simple little things that they can utilize. And now, even with AI, they can actually video call you, and it will look like a real person. With the real fake ones, you cannot tell the difference between a person and an AI.
Wow.
It is that definite. So my rule of thumb is until you've met that person in a safe place, they're not real. Okay. That was my advice on that. Definitely. And yes, you can talk online, you can have a nice relationship, but until you've met them in real life in a safe place, then treat them as not a real person. Treat it as a nice experience. It's like dating should be. It's I'm old fashioned. In the old days, it was courtship. So that time was spent getting to know that person. Okay, and you can do that, get to know them, but until you meet them in real life, when the filters are off and when they turn up in a not expensive car, and when you have that conversation with them, it makes a difference. So they did some research with 2,400 students, and what they did was the students had a picture of somebody that they found attractive and a picture of somebody they didn't. And what they did was they went in an MRI scanner, and whilst they were in the scanner, they showed a picture of somebody they weren't attracted to, checked the brain, and there was nothing really different in there. They showed them a picture of somebody they were attracted to, and it lit up the set part of the brain that's the same section that gets lit up when somebody takes a hit of cocaine. It has that powerful effect. So it is true that love is a drug. It has a physical effect on our bodies, which is great. It's a really nice feeling to have when you've got somebody like that. But what we've got to understand is if that's not a real person, then we're actually getting addicted to somebody that's not real. We're getting addicted to the actual image. And that's why people keep going back and back and back, because without realizing it, you want to have that high, you want to have that nice dopamine hit that you're getting. So if you had a bad day at work or you're having a bad time, it's nice to get on there and text messages. You're walking home in the pouring rain, you've got a lot of studies going on, you had a bad day, and you're getting these lovely messages. Hi babe, how are you getting on today? I wish I was there with you, and things like that. So they all make us feel good, and it's very, very, like I said, it's very clever the way that they work.
I've seen young people quite young who have been sextorted, and I've heard some horrific things like, young people taking their own lives because they feel in this trapped scenario. So can you tell me a little bit about what is obviously they built up a relationship with someone, you've built that trust with somebody you're speaking to, and then what is the fraud that then is committed? So tell because obviously I know a little bit about this, but tell me what happens next.
Sure. And just to justify it, the statistics show that there was a 106% increase in 14 to 18-year-old boys reporting sextortion to the Revenge hotline, and that was between 2022 and 2023. So 106% is a huge amount. And again, if you remember that 80% of people don't report fraud, it's even more worrying. So what happens is you've got that nice relationship that's going online. And sorry, I meant to say it is not just a specific age category. It affects everybody of all genders, of all ages. So if we go back to the actual sextortion, what they will do is once they'll get you isolated, they'll get you on your own. You won't speak to family and friends about this relationship because you're their soulmate, and they don't want to, talk to other people about it. You want to come off the dating sites and get away from that help and just speak privately on some messenger service. So once that's happening, they will, again, it's through language. They will say something like, "Do you know, you're my real soulmate. I've never met anybody like you, and I just think you're perfect, and I want to share my inner self with you. I just want to, bear all with you." And then what you'll get is a ping, and it's a naked image of them. Okay, obviously it's not of that individual, but when you're in that dopamine hit, you've got that love factor going on. You've had a bad day, and you get an intimate image. And then what they will say is, I've bared myself to you. That's the greatest love I could ever have done for anybody. Feel better, will you reciprocate? And so that's putting you in a position where they've done everything and given you the greatest gift that they could, and they're asking you to do the same. And this is what happens. So the individual will send a picture back, and then within a couple of seconds, you get a message back: send me £500, otherwise I'll send this to your family and friends, and put it all around Facebook and everything like that on social media. And then we've then got the emotional factors to take into consideration there, and you're quite right. This is known as a high-risk self-harm type of fraud, and we do know that individuals will try and self-harm and sadly sometimes attempt suicide. Again, so originally I used to work on the 101 phones. I've taken these messages, and it takes a lot of courage for somebody to phone up. Please, if this is you, please call us. We're all trained, we're all sympathetic. There's nothing you're going to tell us that we haven't heard before. You shouldn't feel ashamed, and you shouldn't feel embarrassed, and you will be treated with the greatest dignity and respect. And what we will do, we'll arrange for somebody straight away, as soon as possible, to come round and have a chat with you, look at some protection to put in place for you. And that doesn't mean that we're going to come round to your family's house and go, oh, so your child has done this, this, and this. That's not what we do. So we can meet you in a private place. You can come into the station or whatever, but whatever's best for you. Don't pay the money, because you don't know that they're going to post some images to anyway.
Or ask for more money.
Or, yeah, absolutely. Ask for more money. And then you could get into debt, and then you could then become a money mule, or then you could then start sextorting other people. It just goes on and on, because this is great business for them.
Wow. So, I mean, I think always the thing to remember on any social media platform or any WhatsApp or anything, if you're sending an image of yourself, you've put it out there.
Yes.
So, if that's a really high risk thing to do, particularly if you don't know somebody, but even if you know somebody, it's out there. So maybe don't do that. But actually, if you have done it, then it's not going to be the end of the world. Your family would rather you be there and be alive and be speaking to the police about this than not.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many stories out there. There was a recent one done on the BBC about a young lad who did commit suicide, and his family were there saying, we don't mind. We didn't care what had happened. We just wanted to look after him and support him. I know they know how embarrassed he would have been, but that's not the be all and end all of life. And life does move on and go on. And it happens a lot these days. And like I said, we've seen it all before. We know it all before. But our main aim is to help that individual and make sure that they get the mental health support around them.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So move on to the next type of fraud. What else do students tend to come across?
So recruitment fraud, which is a big one, especially for students looking to top up their funds in that respect. So a lot of the recruitment frauds, again, it will seem too good to be true, but when you're in that moment, a job that's offering good money, possibly working from home, just doing some work on the internet, seems at that time a really good thing. And what they will do is that they will ask you to, for instance, enter your details so that they can get you logged on the system and get some work to you. And again, they're just looking for your details so that they can do identity theft. So top tips on that one is you can always check the business out on Companies House. Never ever put in details such as your national insurance number, your driving license. They may ask you to send a copy of your passport or visa to verify you are who you are. No, that's not what you should be doing. In that, again, they will just use your details, identity theft, and then they will take out loans in your name at your address. And then you end up with that. You'll then get you won't know until you get a debt collector's letter saying that you owe this amount of money. Again, they may ask for your bank account details so that they can pay money into your account. Don't give across your bank account details. Never give across your PIN number. And a reputable company will never ask for that information. And they would be more than happy for you to check them out first. So if there was a company than me, let's pick a high street shop or anything like that, then it's acceptable. They're there and they've got a presence on the high street, and you can check them out that they are absolutely legitimate. But if something's online, you would need to do some research onto them first before you go into that. A popular one was getting people to sign up to work from home, and what you had to do, you had to review movies. So what they did was they give you an account, and you sat at home, you watch a movie, you write a review. You look at the fake account they've set up, and on this account it says, yes, you reviewed this movie, you have earned this amount of money. And then you go through, you keep reviewing monies, and then you can see on the screen your money's building up, which looks really good. It's a nice job, it's great, dude, and you got that money there. What they will do is you may say, oh, can I withdraw that money I've earned? They said, no, you have to get up to a certain amount. That's how we can keep our fees down and keep paying you out. So you'll continue. And then what they will do is you may say, coming up to Christmas, can I withdraw some money? Okay, for us to withdraw that money, we have to go through an admin fee. So you're then paying out them an admin fee. You're then giving them your bank details. So they've got the money that you sent them for the admin fee. And then if they've got enough details, then they can impersonate you and take out a loan or use your bank account as well.
So it's at that point. So you might almost be thinking, oh, well, I'm doing the work because I'm reviewing these films. And it seems like legitimate because you're actually doing that work, and it's right at the end when they say, right now the admin fee and the bank details. Right, okay.
Yeah, and sometimes it goes on for a long time. So you might get to a stage and it looks like you've got £100 in there. And then you get up to £200, and then they ask you for an admin fee. Oh, it's not gone through. Send us another £100 admin fee. Or this has gone wrong. It's not been transferred. And so you can end up, because you can see all this money in your account, and in your mind, it looks like you've got all of that money, but you haven't. But they're showing you what you believe is a legitimate website.
Right, okay. So that's one scam. So a lot of it is around identity theft or payment up front. Like they'll say, right, you need to transfer this amount of money to get to the next stage or whatever. And legitimate companies won't ask for that, will they?
No. Legitimate companies won't ask for your details. So, for instance, if you're applying for a job and you're doing a CV, it should just be your name and your email address, telephone number, contact number. So you don't put your date of birth, you don't put where you live, anything like that at all, because you're just giving them information. So some recruitment scans, they may say, for instance, if it may involve a uniform or something, or they might say, we want to provide you with a gift. So we need to know what your weight and height is, and your hair color, because we need to get all these things coordinated and things like that. It's just helping them with the identity theft as well.
Wow. Okay. So it can go that far. Okay. And what we've heard is some companies now will, like, their email addresses will be very similar to a legitimate company, or their website. They'll create a separate website or a separate email that's very, very close to a legitimate company, but will be slightly different.
Yes, it's slightly different. Yeah. So if let's say for payments, if you're going to do a payment or anything, you want to look at the top of your screen on that website, and it should say HTTPS, and that S stands for secure. Okay. And then you will have like a padlock. Okay. And that padlock means it's safe for payments if that is a legitimate site. So for instance, if that's your bank, whatever your bank is, it will have the padlock, it will have HTTPS, and then the dots, 2 /, and then your bank name. Okay. If it doesn't have the S, if it's HTTP and then the dots, 2 /, and then your bank name, that's not secure. That's a fake website looking like your bank's website. And if there's not the padlock as well, then you wouldn't make any payments on that at all. And you may get, let's say you got caught in a recruitment fraud, and you don't realize that, and you get an email from them, and they said, "Hi, you've been really successful. We just need you to fill in a few more details," and they put a link in there. So never click that link. Go to the actual website and check it there. Because as soon as you click on that link, you will be taken to a fake website that looks like the place that you're applying for. And then you'll be putting all of your details. They'll say, what's your national insurance number, all your other details, what's your driving license number, send us a photo of your passport and also your visa. And that's, again, they're just harvesting all of your information.
Okay. So really being careful where we put our information. And I know that happens in other contexts, which maybe students don't come across, like moving house, buying a house. And I've heard, we won't go, because we could go on and on and on, couldn't we? But I guess the key is making sure that where you're putting your information is a legitimate site. And if in doubt, go on to go up, Google the company website, look on the company website, ring them up. The telephone number that's on the legitimate website. Clicking and being very careful about what links you click on, because they can take you to false, fraudulent websites.
Absolutely. And they look so legitimate. And the other thing is we're so time bound these days. We've got so much going on. We get so many emails, so many text messages. It comes up. It looks like the genuine company. We just click on it. It makes our life easiest by giving us a link. We click on that. We put all the information in and think, job done. I can now get on to the next task. But it is just taking that step back. And again, just don't click on any links in an email.
And I've had a WhatsApp message from somebody like a Leanne from Reed, saying, "Oh, hi, I'm Leanne from Reed, which is a recruitment kind of company. We know that name. Got a job you're in. Would you be interested in?" Now, for me, I straight away knew that was a scam because I hadn't signed up to any agencies. It was a red flag. So recruitment agencies typically won't message you out of the blue on WhatsApp. This is often a scam, isn't it?
Yes. With any type of thing like that, just don't engage, even if you think it. So you can report these. Any emails, fake websites, and text messages, you can report them. And I think they took off about 360,000 websites, fraudulent websites, in the last year. And so it is definitely worth reporting these things to get them offline.
Mm-hmm. So don't engage, just block, report. And recruitment agencies, they're not, if you're getting random messages out of the blue from companies, and I guess LinkedIn people, it probably happens on LinkedIn as well, getting direct messages about potentially fraudulent and scam positions.
So I would always recommend that you verify. Okay, so if you do get a job application, especially if you haven't applied for one, then that's, you've not applied for it. But if you are getting messages and you're not sure, verify it first. Always check that company, who's speaking, and everything like that.
Okay, yeah, because I guess when you are in a situation you're looking for work, you probably applied for so many different jobs, maybe different agencies.
Gosh, yeah,
it can be quite confusing.
Yeah, absolutely. It can get very confusing and very pressurized, which is why they use that as a target.
Excellent. Okay, that's really interesting. And any other kind of fraudulent activities that we need to be aware of, or that you feel like students might come across?
Yeah, especially coming up to Christmas. So one of the biggest frauds is online shopping. So always be careful, and again, verify the individual. Check their ratings. So if they're a brand new seller, you can then say, well, they don't have any ratings, so I don't know if they are genuine or not. And this is a really cheap item. I don't think that's genuine, so I'm not going to engage in that. I'd rather protect my money and myself and not give away my information, and look for something that's more genuine. And again, so if somebody's a genuine seller, they will have verified on there, and you can check out the reviews and everything like that. Never pay anything by a money service or gift vouchers, because that's untraceable, and the chances are you won't get that back. With online shopping fraud, it's especially eBay and Facebook, it's very difficult to get your money back. It's not something that you don't have the lines of inquiry to trace that individual, because their website's taken offline then, and it's hard to find them. Even when people appear genuine, so for instance, some of them do is, let's say I was selling a laptop or a tablet, and I put it online. Yeah, I'm selling it, and the individual says, yes, I'd like to come and see it. I say, yeah, fine, you want to see it working, pop round. So they'll come round, see it working, we have that nice conversation, everyone's getting on fine. Yes, I'd like to buy it. And they'll put a machine in front of your face and it looks like a phone, or it might be on their phone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it looks like a genuine app. And they say, right, I'm just going into my bank here. What's your bank account details? They'll put your details in that app and then go transfer £700, whatever it is. And you'll see it come out from their account. So their account amount will go down, and it looks like there's £700 has come out and been paid to you. Okay. The majority of us apply, and we give them the laptop, and then they leave. That's just a totally fake app that they've got on their phones, and then they will do this in bulk as well. So chances are they'll leave, drive around to another street where someone else is selling something else, and within an evening they can make quite a lot of money through that. So the thing is, never ever accept somebody showing you something in an app. You need to see it in your bank account. Okay. Or if they're coming round, you say it's cash only, so that you've got that cash, or you make sure that the transfer's gone through before you let the item go.
Okay. Well, I didn't know about the app. I knew I sell things on Marketplace, so I'm always quite careful. But it's never big sums.
Yes, yeah. So because they come around your house, yeah, you've got what they look like, and you think they're genuine, but the chances are that person's driven down from another county. They're doing the rounds around here, make the money, and go back to their county, and then sell the items on, or they put them on, Marketplace or whatever, and then put them on for sale. People then give them the money, and then they take the website down, so they're making more money on top of more money.
Wow. Okay, that's really careful. So you've got to be really careful on those sort of secondhand marketplaces.
Yeah, even ones that are on there, they're saying genuine, for instance, genuine trainers, genuine clothing, and they'll show you the items. They look perfect items. You want to get it for a friend or family member for Christmas. It's a really, really good offer. Again, most of them are fake. So, the real website of that brand, you can look on there and they're not selling it at that price. So how come is this individual got these items and trying to, sell them at a much reduced price? Again, it's too good to be true. Too good to be true.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So again, I think too good to be true is kind of is a big message, isn't it? For all of these things, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, yeah. And the national government campaign is stop, think, fraud. So just start, and
Yeah.
just take back a minute and think, okay, what's actually happening here? What's going on? What are my emotions telling me? So your emotions will be saying you're excited, you're going to get an item at a great price, or this is really good, your luck's turned around and things like that. And then you just need to take a step back, have a cup of tea or something like that, and then think, is this really genuine?
And it does, I mean, all of these, it does, they often prey on, when you're in a vulnerable position, or, and you can, sometimes it can be very easy. Like, even, I mean, it's not to do with the marketplace, but I remember not long after having a baby, I had a phone call from what was pretending to be the bank. And they were like, there's been fraudulent activity on your bank account. We need some information. And I did say to them, I said, well, how do I, and they started asking me, and I said, well, how do I know that you're not a scam? And he said, have a look at the back of your debit card, and there's a telephone number on the back of your debit card. Now, look at the phone number I'm ringing from. It's the same as the debit card number. And I actually was like, oh, okay. And I was nearly convinced. And it was only that I kind of thought, I don't know, because I was, was tired. I just had a baby. It was hard. And then it carried on. So he was really convincing. I said, look, no, I'd rather, can I phone the bank up? He said, well, I can make an appointment for you to go down to the bank. And I was like, oh, okay. And he said, right, well, what time would you like? And he pretend booked this appointment with a bank. I guess what he was hoping was I would say, oh, look, don't worry, let's just do it on the phone because it's too much effort. But he went to the point of going, right, you're booked in at this particular date with this particular person at that time. And I was like, okay, thanks. Hung up and then phoned the bank, and they were like, no, that's not true at all. That wasn't real. But it was convincing, and because he went to that trouble, it made me go, well, maybe it is legitimate.
Absolutely, and that's what they rely on. Again, what they're doing in that case, we call this courier fraud. They'll phone out and they'll say, hi, I'm D.I. Johnson. We've got somebody in custody at the moment at Hammersmith Police Station. We found their cards on them. We're really concerned about your bank account and that they'll get your money. They've given it to their associates. So what we need to do, we've set up a safe account for you. Us, the police, and the bank have set up a safe account for you. We need to transfer that money as fast as possible. So what happens in that conversation, your social engineering, is you've got that fear factor starts at the very beginning. You've got your authority figure that's telling you go into the emotional fear, and we start panicking, and we're worrying how we're going to pay our rent, how are we going to pay food, how are we going to pay our taxes, everything like that. But then they've thrown us a lifeline. They've then said, we've set up a safe account with the banks for you. So that then introduces relief. So, oh, thank goodness for that. Oh, I don't have to worry about my payments. So yes, you're going to transfer that money. And that's how it's worked. But what they also do is, where they say, look on the back of your card, what they do is they spoof the telephone number. So the phone they're ringing from, when it comes up onto your phone, it looks like the bank's telephone number, and that's how they do that. Rule of thumb: your money's safe in the bank. That is a safe account, and it's covered by the Ombudsman. So there's no point taking your money out from there. That is a straightforward. So again, put your phone down. Just put your phone down. Don't get to conversations. Just put the phone straight down and sit down. Leave the phone for about a minute. And then what I would do is get up. Now, to get through to your bank, it can be quite a lengthy process. They say press this, press 6, press 4, press 5, press 2, and you're worrying about your money all the time. So the banks have signed up to a central number. Same as the police have 101, the banks have 159. So if you do think it's a fraudulent thing, you would just pick up your phone after that minute to make sure they're still not online. You would dial 159. That takes you to the central fraud department, and then you would say what bank you're with, and that means that you can get through a lot quicker. And again, they will put you at peace of mind that was a fraud and your money's safe.
Yeah, really, really good advice. So, 159 for the bank.
Yes.
101 to report fraud.
So to report fraud, yes, if it's sextortion, like that, blackmail, then it's 101. Or if it's a vulnerable individual, they would phone 101. If it's general fraud and you are of sound mind and health, you would report it to Action Fraud. So you can do that online or phone them.
Yeah. And Action Fraud have got a really good website as well. I was looking on, and lots of information on there, haven't they?
Yes. Yes. So that's run by the City of London Police, that the main control of all protecting fraud in the whole of UK. So, for instance, if you're reporting a fraud that's involved in Dorset, and you're not vulnerable, or it's not something like sextortion, you go to Action Fraud. Action Fraud would do the first parts of that, and if they believe there was lines of inquiry, then they would pass it down to us in Dorset.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I feel like we've covered a lot of different types of fraud.
Yes,
and
we
I feel
have.
like it's I find it so interesting. So I think just to kind of summarize then, if you could summarize for all of us in terms of, a couple of tips, how do we protect ourselves? What would they be?
Top tip with the phone, I've got all my family's and friends' numbers on my phone. I've got the doctors, I've got the vets, I've got the dentist, and anything else that's important is on my phone. So if it rings, it's got the name, I know who that person is. If my phone rings and I don't recognize the number, it goes straight to answer phone. Okay. They either won't leave a message and I know that was somebody trying to fraud or sell me something, or if it's important, they'll leave a message. And if they've left that message, that means I've had time to sit down and think. And if it is something, I can check it first before I phone them back. I can verify the number online. I can verify the business online and check that all there. And I'm more prepared when I speak to that individual. Rather than being in an emotional state, I'm the person that's in control during that conversation. So that's with that. With the banks, never transfer your money. Okay, never let anyone use your bank account. Your money's safe there. And if you do have any issues, you dial 159. If you are a money mule, contact us at 101 and we will assist you. If you think somebody is a money mule, let's say you start seeing them with more money, going on holidays, designer clothes, a new car, then you'll be protecting that person by reporting it anonymously to Crime Stoppers. Okay, trying to think what else we've covered. Yeah, shopping online, just be careful. Don't pay anything in gift vouchers or anything like that. Money, bureau services at all. Make sure if it is genuine that you're doing it through your bank as well, so that it can be monitored.
Brilliant. And then being careful where you share your data and your information, where you put those, all that information.
Yeah, so an interesting to do, if you go on to www.haveibeenpawned without the A, so it's PWNED, and you put your email in there and it will show you all the sites that you've had data leaks that you're affiliated with.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to be trying that.
Yeah, it shocks everybody when they go on there and it shows, your email address and all of this has been leaked. So definitely change all your passwords. If you go to a site called Get Safe Online, fantastic resource. It will show you great password management tools. If you're not using a password management tool, then make sure your password has 3 unique words. So that's 3 words that don't relate to each other, that you haven't posted online. So no family names, no pet names, no addresses, dates of birth, or anything like that. Just totally 3 unique names. And then you want 2 numbers included in that, as well as I never get the word right for this, so like a hashtag or a star or an ampersand, whatever they're called. And then you want some capitals in there as well.
So having a secure password, really important. And what I'll do is I'll on the notes to the episode, I'll include those links that you gave us as well. So that's really
lovely,
really useful.
Super, brilliant.
Well, thank you so much, Damian. I like I said, I find it really interesting. I've learned a lot from this episode, so I think it's going to be so valuable for all the students. So thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And for Dorset, get them to sign up to Dorset Alert. It's a free service and it will tell you what the latest frauds and scams are that are coming out.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening today. Please remember to subscribe and follow so you can keep up to date with all new episodes.